Hi, and welcome to Michigan Matters. Tourism is one of our state's biggest industries, bringing in millions upon millions every year. Amid rising gas prices and tariffs, how's it going so far in 2026? We have three executives at the forefront here to talk about it. Then it's a look at cybersecurity in the defense and auto sectors and what's at stake as we talk to two leaders who live and breathe it as few others. It's a show about boosting tourism and stepping up against cybersecurity issues. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Pure Auto Insurance.
And we're so pleased to welcome Janet Korn, who's the Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at Experience Grand Rapids, Kelly Wolgamott, who's the Vice President of Pure Michigan, and Liz Ware, who owns Mission Point Resort on Mackinac Island with her family. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, Kelly, I know we've been talking about you coming in here for months. It seems like getting you. There's so much going on here. But before we dive in, you're all mothers. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
So, real quick, any piece of advice that your mother gave you way back when that you incorporate and use today? Anyone here?
Visit Mackinac Island.
Kelly, Jennifer?
Just embrace the time, right? Because it does go so quick.
Yeah.
A blink in the eye, and they're grown up and gone to college.
That's it.
Yeah, and my mom always said, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Nice.
That is words of wisdom. And my mom said many things, but I learned from watching her, and hers is don't waste people's time. So I'm going to leave it alone here. We're going to move on, dive in what we're talking about here. So May is Pure Michigan Month. And Kelly, as head of travel Michigan and Pure Michigan, this is under your tutelage, if you will. This iconic marketing campaign, I can't believe it, is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Yes.
Why has it been so long lasting?
You know, 20 years ago, we welcomed the world to come share in the experience of a Pure Michigan vacation, and it has drawn millions to the state. And I think it's really based on the authenticity of the campaign. It's not over-manufactured or over-promised experiences, that what we're displaying within the campaign is the real deal. And I'll have to say, even though I'll say that the campaign is incredibly beautiful, cinematic way from the videography that we do. But when you're here, it is truly a magical
and you've got that music.
time.
You got that music.
Yes, we do.
I don't know where the music's from. It was in Cider House Rules movie. So anyways, Liz, you run Mission Point Resort with your family, Mackinac Island. You're also involved with the state's travel bureau. You're a volunteer, one of the leaders helping to guide the whole thing. You've been involved in this for a while. Why do you think that this campaign has resonated like it has?
Again, to Kelly's point, it's genuine, it's authentic, it's real. And when you go out and experience it, you make these memories that last forever. And there's such pride in that, and there's pride in our state.
And there's also, it's global. I remember being in China years ago, and I was having a television on. All of a sudden, there's Pure Michigan. All these in Chinese. They had the same music. I don't know what they were saying. But anyways, it's an iconic campaign, no doubt about that. Jennifer, thank you, or Janet, thank you for making the long trek in from Grand Rapids to be here with this. You run Experience, or one of the leaders of Experience Grand Rapids. And how are things tourism-wise in your neck of the woods there?
Oh, we're really excited for our summer. The Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park, which is one of the most beautiful places to visit, just opened a Dale Chihuly exhibition. And it's up until November 1st, so there's plenty of time for people to get there and see that. And downtown, next week, we're going to be opening up the new Acrisure Amphitheater. So we have opportunities for over 50 concerts right along the river shore this season.
I saw that exhibit when it was in Phoenix at there was a garden there that they had. Incredible. There's so much work that he has done, so much art sculpture. That's just amazing. Worth the drive, actually.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
Well, Kelly, tourism, which I think is our third biggest industry after autos and agriculture, or would you argue that maybe
it's like second, third, yeah.
Somewhere in there. Talk about the dollars and cents of this industry and how important it is.
Oh, it's incredibly important. It lifts up the local communities. It supports local jobs, and as Liz mentioned, it really provides the state a real sense of pride. There was 131 million visitors in 2024, and that accounted for $54.8 billion in tax revenue and visitor spending. And the campaign continues to be a powerhouse For every dollar we spend on the campaign, $10.78 comes back into the state.
We're going to talk about that. I want to ask you a budget question, but we'll leave that alone for the moment here. Liz, you're up on Mackinac Island there with your beautiful resort. How long has your family owned it?
This is our 12th season.
And it literally is just opened up, right? You're open for the season there.
We just opened last Thursday, and we are open. The island is open, and we are just excited to welcome guests to come and see Michigan's crown jewel.
And also, this winter, which has been crazy, you love it. Maybe it's the best winter of all or the worst winter, depending on if you like snow and cold here. It helped tourism in general, didn't it, even on Mackinac?
It absolutely helped tourism in northern Michigan, and that is so important. There were several seasons that we didn't have that, so we are so happy that we had a real, true Michigan winter.
Oh my gosh, and there's much more to talk about here, so keep it right here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll continue with more Michigan Matters right after this. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're joined by Jana Korn of Experience Grand Rapids, Kelly Wolgamott of Pure Michigan, and Liz Ware of Mission Point Resort, talking about tourism and the Pure Michigan campaign, which I have to imagine is probably one of the most well-known. I'm trying to think one that might come close, which is we love New York. I love New York. Have you ever done studies looking at that? I know you guys have won tons of awards through the years.
We have, and it is one of the most recognized tourism brands in the world. And you talk about awards at 20 years old. In 2025, we were put on the list for Fast Company magazine as brands that matter. And that's tremendous that we're up on a list that with Nike and Coca-Cola. Yeah. There's not any other tourism brands that are doing that.
Are you taking that list and sending it to all the state legislators up in Lansing who are looking at the budget right now? Because there's a lot of conversation about the Pure Michigan campaign and dollars for it. I know we don't need to get into the weeds on the whole thing here, but I'm assuming you're helping to reach out some maybe?
Yes, we're always educating on the value and the importance of this travel and tourism industry. This week, in fact, we were in South Haven on Monday celebrating National Travel and Tourism Week and really talking about the importance of this industry, what it does for local communities, what it does for local jobs, and what it does for us as Michiganders.
Up on Mackinac Island, where you have seasonal workers who come up there, are you all set on what you need worker-wise up on the island this year?
We are. We are all set. As I said, we're open. We're ready to go. We are just waiting for everyone to come up, and they're coming. And it's really exciting for us. Every year, spring is so exciting because we're all happy to be back at work.
We're hoping to boost up the temperatures a little bit there, too, right? Yeah.
Bring a jacket.
Curious with gas prices rising over $6 for premium, which as I start shaking, my hands started shaking when I saw it was over $6 a gallon for premium here. Has that impacted things in your neck of the woods as far as it can be an advantage because people don't want to drive? On the other hand, keep people right at home.
Yeah, and it is, from a travel standpoint, consumers are prioritizing to ensure that they can have their vacation this summer. And while gas prices may be high, they're still planning to come. We've actually measured that with our target audience, and 63%, no matter because of the inflationary pressures, they're still planning to come visit us this summer.
People like to get out of the house and do something else there. And Janet, you have a new campaign called Craft Your Career for folks to consider hospitality as a career. What's that about?
Well, as we continue to grow and expand the reasons to come to visit Grand Rapids, and our meetings and convention opportunities continue to expand as well, we need to encourage people to see hospitality roles as a career. So it can be more than that summer job, or it can be more, and it's a really great way to build your life skills because you're dealing with the public. And so we reached out to some local people, and we've captured their individual stories, and we're sharing those to the public to inspire more people to consider hospitality.
I'm curious, again, I don't want to get into the weeds on the political of Canada and the U.S. and what's going on with the leaders at the top on all of this, the back and forth, the verbal volleys going on here. The impact has been, I know I have had Claude Molinari on talking about tourism in the metro region is down 30% because of lack of Canada visitors who don't want to come over because of all going on here. Has it had any measurable impact, any of you?
Well, we are tracking that. Everything that we do is rooted in research, and over the last year we've been tracking the sentiment of travelers in Canada. They're still searching Michigan. They're still searching when they're doing their Google searches for a Michigan vacation. So we do know that they're still very much interested in Michigan.
Either of you ladies on Canada visitors?
Sure, we see Canada visitors still coming to the island. They're coming through the Soo, and we love that. And we aren't down as much as it is in Detroit, but we do see the effect of it.
Well, I think Mackinac Island has topped just about every list I've ever seen about most popular place, most iconic place to go
Yes.
in Michigan. It tops the list, doesn't it?
It tops the list throughout the country.
Is it the #1 tourist destination in Michigan, or I remember Dave Lorenz telling me once Detroit was picking up steam.
Detroit. And you got to remember the island's not open technically year-round. I mean, you talk about 6 months of really, and from the travel season for the island.
Yeah. Grand Rapids, as far as a destination in the state, west side of the state there, what are you anticipating for 2026?
Well, the whole Chicago and northern Indiana market and all the way actually down to Indianapolis are really areas for people coming north, because the Pure Michigan experience is something that they're looking for. So we hope that they'll stop in Grand Rapids and see what we have for them to experience, and then explore the rest of the state. Moving around the state and taking a road trip is such an easy experience. And I think that's what the Pure Michigan campaign also encourages people to do.
We're also seeing road trips on the rise. It's even with gas prices.
Yep. Day trips kind of thing?
Day trips, but road trips where people are going all around the state. And that's really exciting for us. I know with a mom, having my kids, we did road trips all the time. We still do.
Right.
Everyone loves that. It's all about that family connection.
Maybe there's something to be done. We've heard of Route 66, have an I-75 trip. I-75 and
Right.
connect to the other things
We are,
there.
a classic road trip state, and it is about that great American road trip this summer.
There's much more to say about it, but unfortunately, we are out of time here. I want to thank you so much for being here. Happy Mother's Day again to you,
thank
ladies. Thank you
you.
for spending it with us here. We'll check in with you as the summer goes on, see how things are going.
Great.
All righty. And keep it right here. We're going to switch gears and talk about cybersecurity. Don't go away. And welcome back to Michigan Matters as we switch gears and talk about something that's a concern and should be to all of us. That's cybersecurity and staying safe. To shed light on this, we're pleased to welcome Jennifer Tisdale, who's the co-chair of the Cyber Physical Systems Security Summit, which is coming up in a few weeks, and our other co-chair, Dr. Darius Mikulski, who also happens to be the lead research scientist at the U.S. Army Ground Vehicle Systems Center in Warren. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Well, Jennifer, since you're the co-chair of this, tell me, what is the Cyber Physical Systems Security Summit, which is coming up in June at Oakland Community College? What is this event and what's its mission?
So it's a mouthful, right?
I know. We should just call it letters.
Yeah, CPS3 for short,
There we go.
Cyber Physical Systems Security Summit. And we focus primarily on where cybersecurity interacts with physical mobility platforms. So essentially planes, trains, automobiles, robotics, medical technologies like insulin pumps, et cetera, would be examples of a cyber physical system. We concentrate on mobility. We have that, and we do that very well right here in Michigan with our automotive and aerospace and defense industries. And this is really helping them learn technical practices and strategies to help increase cyber resilience in those mobility platforms.
And Dr. Mikulski, I know you're involved in this and your day job of what you're doing this. What else about this upcoming event is of interest to someone watching this who say, maybe I'm a business, maybe I'm a policyholder who would be interested in attending this event? What will they learn?
Well, it's something that, we have to realize that our foreign adversaries that are looking to get into our systems, they're looking to get into areas that, we may not necessarily think about. And if you're a business that thinks that you're not going to be hacked because you're not important enough, you're exactly the kind of target that they're looking for. So, what they're going to learn about is we're going to give information about what kind of threats there are. We're going to be talking about foreign proximity threats on domestic soil. We're going to be talking about autonomous cyber attacks. We're going to be talking about novel infiltration techniques. And we're also going to get into some policy stuff, trying to develop cyber strategies that are aware of what the federal ambitions are, but what kind of state level actions can be taken.
We saw that play out here. Stryker, which is a company on the southwest side of the state, its system was hacked. They were out of commission for weeks on that, something which you don't hear about it. I'm assuming they had the latest and greatest of so-called defenses already in place, right? So you need to stay on top of this, right?
Yeah, in their specific situation, it was, from what I understand, it was an Iranian hacker that got in and basically wiped out, the data on all the phones using software that was already installed on those phones.
So
it had the ability to change things, and it effectively used that same capability to delete everything.
Wow.
And
that's some scary stuff.
Yeah.
You can't even think about the vulnerabilities, and it's technical and things you can't anticipate, and uses, again, existing technology in a different way, which causes problems here.
Well, just think about the kind of impact. You've got economic sabotage. It's disrupting a lot of business that's happening. You've got potentially plausible deniability as well, and you also have a psychological impact to the society or even the workforce for that particular company. I mean, when you think about it, it's really diabolical.
That's to say the least here. And Jennifer, your background's in public administration, economic development. You're not a software engineer, coding expert by any stretch of the imagination, yet you built a cyber strategy for the state, right?
Right. And I did that through thorough research and investigation, if you will, from all of our assets here in the state of Michigan. I think the initial thought was that we would try to recreate what was happening in Silicon Valley or the Beltway or Texas. But the more research that I did through interviews such as with Darius and his counterparts with the Army and some of our friends within commercial automotive and aerospace is that we were really leaning, this was 2012, on connected vehicle technologies, as I'm sure you know. So as we start to migrate from connected into level 3 or level 4 autonomy, what does that mean for commercial automotive? And the more software that gets integrated, the more vulnerabilities were being discussed behind closed doors. In 2015, we know that we've heard the infamous now GPAC. It really opened the door for these conversations to grow more openly and to have more collaboration. So as an economic developer, I felt it was part of my role to build a tech community around it.
How do you see, we're talking aviation, we're talking aerospace, we're talking defense and autos here. Autos, which again is huge, the connectivity of the automakers with that, are they paying as much attention? I'm asking you to name names of whatever, but are they paying as much attention to cybersecurity and things like having the connectivity to the cars and safety as they should to actual safety features within the vehicle?
I think we've done a great job as an industry for in-vehicle security. We have to be mindful of where tech is going because it's not one and done. It's evolving over time always.
You deal with the defense industry, and I know you can't talk a lot about what you specifically are doing, but the defense industry where there are many things changing, many opportunities, and maybe companies here who are involved and maybe should be thinking about getting involved here, right, in some of this?
Yeah, I would say so. I think, one of the things between the military and automotive industry is that there are a lot of threats that overlap. And, and we're lucky here in Michigan that we've got the automotive industry pretty much right in our backyard. At the Army Ground Vehicle Systems Center in Warren, you've got some of the best ground vehicle engineers and experts. They can literally walk across the street and talk to some of the top automotive engineers in the world to solve these kinds of problems. So, I think these are the kinds of things that we should be doing more. We should be collaborating. We should be sharing data. We should be trying to solve some of these common issues.
Yeah, and I know we've got a lot more to talk about here, but we're going to take a quick break here. Keep it right here. We're back with more Michigan Matters after this. Welcome back. We're talking with Jennifer Tisdale and Dr. Darius Mikulski about cybersecurity and issues tied to autos, defense, aviation, and other things here. And Jennifer, the Cyber Physical System Security Summit, which is going on June 16th, 17th, at Oakland Community College, is at Oakland University.
Yes.
So it's hosted by the NDIA's Michigan chapter. This is the 11th year of it. This industry has changed so much. How has the conference changed?
I think we've seen a lot of new interest, especially as we start to see technology evolve over time and integrate things like artificial intelligence and attack and defense strategies. And we're also seeing a lot of talent interest as well.
Yeah, I know. And speaking of AI, Dr. Mikulski, you're deep down on some of these cybersecurity issues with the defense industry in particular. Mm-hmm. Talk about AI and help or hindrance in what you're doing.
Yeah, I think AI it's definitely a hot topic. AI can be used in a lot of different ways these days. In context of cyber physical systems, it can be used as a kind of a digital bodyguard to detect and respond to active cyber attacks. You can use AI to potentially test software before it's deployed onto some sort of platform. You may even be able to use AI to generate code that may one day be vulnerability free. So it's got a lot of uses, but I think there's a bit of a cautionary tale we have to also consider, is that AI is also software, and it's susceptible to some of the same vulnerabilities that we're talking about for cyber physical systems. So if you're going to be using it, you have to be careful.
What's your background?
I have a PhD in electrical and computer engineering. I've done AI for decades, and so I have a very good foundational background.
How do you keep up on AI? Because with the technology changing and stuff, I mean, is there like a quick thing you do to?
You just have to stay kind of reading news articles. Really, anything that you knew 2 months ago, by now is out of date. I mean, that's how fast things are changing. It's really crazy. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details that I try to delve into, but it's really overwhelming. And but conferences like this is a place where we can kind of talk to different experts, talk to people, and learn some of this stuff, at least learn what's the most important things that we got to be paying attention to.
And Jennifer, as we are the auto capital, where some people want us to be the defense capital of the 21st century here, talent needs and having young people and maybe middle-aged people who are transitioning from one thing to the other in these areas, how are we doing at helping to update skills and let people know where the opportunities actually are?
Right, and I think talent development is very important, and it goes hand in hand with workforce development, so we should all be forever learning, and that's where building the community that is inclusive of colleges and universities and other workforce development professionals that understand best practices, that can come in and train. We've brought in many of our students from Oakland University, who is our host sponsor, that are interested in cybersecurity, and they get to get a bird's eye view into what the topics are that we're talking about, specific to defense and how they relate to automotive, right? So that they can then also meet future employers and hopefully find that career path for them.
If there's a company watching this, a business, small, mid-sized business that's interested, they're doing something maybe in the defense sector, aviation, autos, and they're looking at opportunities in this, is there any advice you would give them where the opportunities of the future might be?
In terms of advice, I mean, cybersecurity, it's a challenge that is constantly evolving.
Is it coding? I mean, what is it that when you talk about cybersecurity, anything particularly?
I mean, for me, there's because of my work in robotics, I think about the cybersecurity architectures. I think about developing systems that defend against, but there's also another side where you try to attack into systems, try to break into systems. So you can kind of divide it into your makers and your breakers from a cybersecurity opportunity standpoint, and you need both to be successful.
Jennifer, anything on that from your standpoint?
So I've spent a long time, the last 15 years, working for the breakers on the hacker side, and it's very much vital that they also have exposure into the makers, so the builders and the developers. Programming languages, software development, a traditional computer science background such as Dr. Darius here, but also understanding systems engineering, electrical engineering, to be able to blend the physical and the digital too.
I know there's so much more to say here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys being here. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll talk about this again sometime down the road. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to you at home for tuning in. Happy Mother's Day again from all of us here at CBS Detroit. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next Sunday for a little bit more Michigan Matters.